I'm going to go over some of the ways to adjust the Builder's Automation multifunction stair router, also known as the MFSR. This scale here is for the tread. The scale across the top here is for the hypotenuse, or for the run, the distance between tread and rise to tread and rise. And then this scale over here, which we'll look at a little bit more later, is for the riser. On the traditional 2200 stair machines, the edge of the scale would have to be lined up with the dimension that you wanted on your tread rise. Then you would intersect the riser height on the face of the scale, and then you'd have to go back and forth to keep them in sync. This is not necessary on this machine. This machine has the hypotenuse scale pinned to the center line of the tread scale, which then is at a 90 degree perfectly to the riser scale. So for instance, if we wanted to cut a stringer and we wanted to do let's say a 10-inch tread, we slide this over to where that line intersects with 10-inch. Then we lock it down. Then we're going to loosen up this top handle and this back handle. And then if there's this handle right here which has a fine thread in it, and as we turn this, the template will move, but the tread side relative to this does not. So we'll go ahead and we'll adjust this guy to 7.5 inches, and that can all be done without having to move the scales a second time. Once it's achieved its location, we tighten down the handles. We find out where it intersects, and then we put that dimension down here onto the scale that gives us the distance in which the stringer gets advanced in between the tread and rise cuts. Lock it down in position, and that's how you set up the machine for different types of tread and risers. Now with this machine, if you wanted to do different types of stairs, like for instance here you have your standard traditional box stair, then what we refer to as a contemporary stair, and then also a open stair. And there's different types of these, but these are basically the three that are most commonly used. The settings for doing that are done here on these function settings. You can set up, depending on what that is. If you look over here, like if we wanted to do an open stringer, it would be 1A. If we wanted to do a box stair, it would be 2B. If we wanted to do a box stair but in a single pass, so our depth would be limited to 3/8 of an inch, then we would go to 3B. Whereas 2B box would have been a double pass, but we could have gone to a depth of 3/4 of an inch, or if we were doing a hardwood, we would have done 2 passes at 3/16 each to equate to 3/8 of an inch. This machine also has a real nice feature here where you can tell the machine to run each one of these processes individually to do troubleshooting, or to just move the board, or to test a cylinder or test a valve. That can all be done here. To change your thickness depth, that's done up here. To turn your vacuum on and off, to change the depth of your cut, can be done here. Keeping in mind that, you know, if you were to set it to 7/16 depth, then when you go to 3/4, you wouldn't have 3/4, you'd have 7/8. So this is basically just a starting point, because that could be quarter, that could be half, or that could be 7/16, 7/8. I think you get the idea. Your auto feed, and then here you can also set the number of repeats you want to do. So let's say you want to do a staircase and you had 10 repeats, that would be 10 repeats. And that's pretty much what you need to know to run this machine. In a nutshell, there's some more fine tuning than that, but that's about what it would take to get you started.